Hello, in this video I shall be giving the analysis of a topic. The topic is restriction on freedom of expression of retired officials. Now, Government of India has placed some restriction on some freedom of expression, expressing about certain secret things of the nation that are known to the retired government officials. We shall analyze about this. And this was given to a particular section of the officials, like from the security and intelligence organization, and they are barred with this restriction from publishing anything about the department or any activity of the department when they were working in the department. And even the present civil servants are not to give any opinion of their own about the policy matters openly in the public, and they are not to give any criticism that they can come up with regarding these policy matters. So this is what the Government of India has placed as a restriction, or it is barring these officials from sharing certain important things like publishing about the department and all the activities. So how far this is justifiable, we shall see. We have an act called Official Securities Act 1923. According to this act, it says that these officials or these organizations like security and intelligence organization, which is of high national importance, they are privy to some sensitive information. They are not to let out some sensitive information that they know, and this would lead information leaking into public, and that would be a threat to the national security. So that these security and intelligence operations will be affected if this information is leaked out into the public, and it might be taken far away from the country also. It might reach some extremist groups also, so that they take up some operations to halt the security and intelligence operations of India. So this is a bit justifiable according to this act, to keep some secrecy about the information that these officials know. But the problem is, what information should be held secret and what should not be held secret? What is sensitive information and what is not sensitive information? There is no clarity on this part, on the part of the government, about this particular section of information. And how long a retired officer must hold the information he knows? After 5 years of his retirement, can he come out with the information? Or if the thing or the report has become so old that no threat is any threat of any kind is cannot be posed because of that report, can it be out after some years? And how long that is to be held important or secret to the nation? So these two important questions have to be answered, and there is no clarity over what information and how long an information can be hailed as very important of national security interest. So this is some question about it. In India, we have this convention of book writing by our former intelligence officials. For that matter, any retired official or any civil servant will be aspiring to write some books with the knowledge he acquires during his term in the office. So we have this convention, unlike in US. In USA they don't write these books, but in India we come up with writing books. And this is a very important eyewitness document to know the history of some reports, to know the operations that took place in history of India, some major operations. And this is a very major, beautiful tradition in India about writing books by these intelligence officials and civil servants, former IAS officers. And the broad theme behind this writing of books is to inform the public, and no extremist idea, but just to inform the public and to tell them what benefits of activities these organizations do. So these organizations like security and intelligence organizations, they do a lot of activities that are beneficial to the nation. So letting people know about these benefits is a good thing. So this is a convention on the other side, on the flip side, that letting people know about things is good. And some national security acts are very important, even though it is good to let people know, but some important acts must be held secret. And they are about intelligence gathering, military operations, and some confidential deliberations between ministers, between different countries. And some personal privacy is also important for national security acts, because some agencies appoint some people that we do not know that they are under some doing something underway, that they are under some agenda or operation. So their personal privacy is also important, that public don't come to know about it. So these are some national security acts that must be held secret. So despite of letting people know about certain things, there is a high importance also to keep something secret. So this is always a constant tension or challenge or ongoing challenge between two poles or two things. Their right to information that would be demanded by the public, and to keep information secret that would be aspired by the government. So this is by the public and public authorities, and this will be by the government. So these two things always will have tension between each other. So this is one thing that is everywhere in the world, not just in India. So we need to bring balance between letting people know and keeping things secret. And there are some transparency efforts in the world, not just in India, and they began in Europe. So in Europe, at the end of 20th century or in the beginning of 21st century, as a result of these efforts, everywhere in the world we got this right to information thing that emerged in all countries. So today nearly 200 countries have got this right to information act working, which was not the case 30 years ago. So this all started with Europe, and in Europe Parliament was demanding for the opening up of executive work. So what all the executives are doing, any secret activities or any operations they are doing, the Parliament wanted to know, Parliament of the Europe. So that was when they demanded for access to activities of executive authorities. So because of that, right to information emerged and the disclosure arrangements were started. So right to information is one such disclosure arrangement, information disclosure arrangement. So now every country, almost 200 countries are following this, and this is how we got transparency into nations. On the other hand, there were some secrecy efforts that started around the world with the post 9/11 attacks of the US. So the major reason for this attack that the world believes is that the information was open and there are concerns of national security with information opening up. So because of that, all countries started tightening up their information availability to the public. So this is how the secrecy started, to keep accounts, to keep the reports and national security files under secrecy. So these are some transparency efforts, and these are some secrecy efforts, the history of them, how they started in the world. But in a country that is free and democratic, there must be free flow of information, and public must be aware of so many things that the agencies or executive agencies take up. And the transparency must be very clear, and the greater transparency should be about the factual perspective of these people who write these books. So that is how one would know the transparent activities of a department. So this is the norm of free and democratic country. Then what is the solution between this right to information and being secret about information? The solution is declassification. Declassification, it is a concept of the United States. So this is about nothing but classifying the files. So declassification of files has to be done. So some files can be released into the public domain, like some old reports, like we have Henderson Brooks report. This is about our conflict with China in 1961. Justice Mukherjee report. This is about Subhash Chandra Bose. And such reports which are of old nature, which do not have any impact to the present country's national security. So those reports can be declassified as something that can be released into the public domain, and they can also store them in national archives, and they can be preserved in national archives, and people will also let to know what just happened during then, and that will not have any wrong effect on the present country situation. So this is one solution, that is declassification of files. The final word is there has to be freedom of expression, but no freedom of expression or speech is absolute. It means there must be restrictions for the national security. Restrictions are good, but the problem today is not about the restriction, but clarification is needed about what ought not to be out. So what information should not be out? These retired officials do not know, and they must be given clarification about this by the government that placed this restriction, and how long they have to hold after they are retired, and is it forever or they have to hold it for around a specific period of time until the report gets old and will have no effect on the country. So these two things, if clarified, this is a good restriction placed by the government on some retired officials and the present civil servants. for national security. So this is the topic, restriction on freedom of expression of retired officials, and some analysis about this, and thank you.